This is a cheap adventure to Tunis in Tunisia. Now, Tunisia is somewhere I've wanted to go to for a very long time, except the flights have always been either non-existent or incredibly expensive. But then I found a deal on Apodo for £70 for both the flights and hotel combined. Now, I was a bit worried this was some sort of scam, because that seemed too good to be true, considering on their own the flights are £70, plus the hotel is also £70, that would come to £140. Yet they were giving it to me for just £70, that's half price. Plus, the website seemed very dodgy and didn't even give me the confirmations it was supposed to give me. But luckily the trip all turned out to go well. This deal was based on me signing up to a free trial of a subscription service, which I then immediately cancelled. So basically, I actually got a very good deal on this trip. So let the adventure begin, and we start off by trying out an airline I haven't been on before, which is Nouvel Air. And here's the airplane arriving into Tunis airport. So then, here I am in Tunis, in Tunisia. Let's take a look at the airport, and this airport has got an Arona lift. Interestingly, one thing about Tunisia airport is there's no public transport going to it, and there's a lot of taxi guys trying to press you into their overpriced taxis. And it seems like that's what people expect Europeans to do there. It's like tourists are expected to just get ferried straight to their tourist resorts. But I don't want to just go straight to the tourist areas, because I want to see everything that Tunisia has to offer, both tourist areas, plus I also want to visit the areas the tourists don't go to. And I felt like I was the only tourist in Tunisia and made the 1.5 mile walk down a busy road to the nearest tram stop. When using a trams in Tunis, multiple times people were interested in why a European was actually using public transport. It seems like no Europeans ever use public transport in Tunis, which I do find interesting. So then, what should I do first in Tunisia? Well, let's go surf the tallest lift in the country at Hotel Africa, Tunisia's tallest tower, which has got some ThyssenKrupp lifts. This is nice. So then, here I am in the city centre of Tunis. This city is very interesting. Let's take a look around. And as well as this very nice central looking area of Tunis, there's also the Medina, which is the alleyway market city. Exploring Medina is very fun as there's loads of little passages all going everywhere. And I'm going to do a separate video of exploring the Medina of Tunisia. Another thing you see a lot in Tunisia is loads of very rough looking tiny kittens, pretty much everywhere, often sitting right in the middle of the busy paths where people walk. I'm surprised they don't get trodden on. I've never seen so many tiny, very rough looking cats pretty much everywhere you look. I've only got one eye. Turn to the other eye. So then, now let's take a look at the shopping centres in Tunis. All of these shopping centres are a bit different. Let's take a look at the first shopping centre. This one's probably the most closest one to a Western style shopping centre that there is. This one has got some Otis lifts. Now in Tunisia,
random speaker.
getting food is a bit more difficult than I expected because I'm used to just eating my regular food, and all of the regular Western shops just do not exist in Tunisia. There is no McDonald's, there is no Burger King, and I think there was one KFC, but they were not anywhere I visited. So there was no regular food. When I go places, I like to eat just the ordinary food I'm used to because one, I'm not particularly interested in trying local food, and two, my stomach is very sensitive and I don't want to get stomach upsets when I'm abroad, so I always stick to my normal food. In Tunisia, I couldn't do that. In the end, I ended up eating a lot of pizza because that was the only type of food I could find which I recognised and was widely available. Now let's take a look at how much things cost in Tunisia. From a petrol station, not even a regular shop, but from a petrol station, a cooked pizza and a full litre of juice cost just £4. And petrol stations are not normally the cheapest places to eat, so that gives you an idea of how cheap things can be in Tunisia when you're just going around the ordinary areas that local people go to. When you go to the tourist areas, which you're going to see in the next video, things are a lot more expensive. People try and get as much money out of you as possible. But as for the capital of Tunis, as it's not so much of a tourist area, things are very cheap. Also, as well as cooked food, as for supermarkets, there's actually not that many supermarkets about, and the few supermarkets there were had a real lack of any product I recognised. Although there was some very nice things in the supermarket, such as you can get for less than £1 a bottle of non-diluted pomegranate smoothie. Now in Europe, usually pomegranate smoothie is diluted quite a bit, but in Tunisia you get the full strength thing, which is very strong and also very nice. Let's now go to the next shopping centre. This shopping centre was looking a bit run down. This is quite a weird looking shopping centre. Let's explore it. And the lifts here are some Schindler D-series lifts which have been modernised by Shit Generic. And now I go to the next shopping centre, and this one looks stunning. Just take a look at that epic shaftless lift outside of the shopping centre. But sadly, this lift is now abandoned, which is very disappointing. This shopping centre has seen better days and it now seems quite run down. On the inside of the shopping centre, there's a second shaftless lift, but this one was also abandoned. There were no working lifts in this shopping centre. Now, talking about abandoned stuff, in Tunisia, most of the various buildings around the city have lifts, but most of these lifts were not working. Most buildings, you just find the lift switched off. So it seems that Tunisia is struggling quite a bit. And talking of abandoned buildings, just take a look at this building. This looks stunning. On each floor this building goes up, the building gets bigger. This is epic looking architecture, but sadly this was abandoned and security was on site, and I was not able to explore it because unlike in the UK where guard dogs are just a visual deterrent only, in Tunisia, let's just put it this way, are not just a visual deterrent. And there's also no fence around this building. And I saw someone walking past the building on a public street and the guard dogs ran outside of the perimeter of the building and were running up to this person barking. This person then got into a massive argument with the security guard. So it seems that the security industry is not very well regulated in Tunisia. And now we go to a residential building. This building has got some Otis lifts.
A long way to Tunisia to see an Otis, which I could see in England. Oh well.
So then, in Tunisia, I didn't actually film that many lifts. This is partly because a lot of the lifts are switched off and were not working, and partly because a lot of the lifts were very small scale generic lifts, which I didn't take that much interest in. So I do apologise for the lack of lifts in this video, but the main reason why I didn't film that many lifts is because I got distracted. Let's just put it this way. A certain hobby which I enjoy doing, which is normally considered a very niche specialist hobby in the UK, is something that large amounts of people do in Tunisia. And I was not expecting this till I suddenly saw this and I was like, hold on a minute. There's actually loads of people doing my hobby, and that was an amazing feeling. And everyone there was very friendly and I kind of got distracted, and that's why I didn't film that many lifts. And now that's Tunis complete. Now let's go along to my next destination, which is Hammamet. So let's now get on a train from Tunis to Hammamet. But there's a problem. No trains were running. The times on Google Maps for the trains did not link up with the timetable for the trains in the station. But the trains weren't even obeying that timetable either, as none of the trains were running and no one could give me a clear reason why. Everyone told me to take a taxi because they assumed because I'm a European I must be rich and must just want to be ferried about, even though I don't want to be ferried about by taxi, I want to enjoy local transport. Then I went along to try and find the buses, and everyone I asked even told me there are no buses to Hammamet, you need taxi. Even police officers told me that. When I asked the police officer, first thing he said to me was, telephone? And he was telling me, don't hold my phone out in my hand, put my phone away because he's worried that someone's going to snatch it off me. Although with that said, I didn't actually see anyone snatching phones, so I'm not sure if people do that or not, if that's just a fear people have. The police officer also told me there was no buses and I should take the taxi. Turns out there was actually a bus, but I did not discover it until I went back to Tunis later on the trip. So everyone just assumed, as a Westerner, I would not possibly want to take a local bus. I was a bit exasperating after the role, because people, often if I wasn't in a tourist area, especially more in Hammamet than Tunis, people would assume I must be lost. I must need help getting back to the tourist area. Let me escort you back to the tourist area in return for a tip. That did get a bit frustrating. The thing is, there is a bus station with buses to Hammamet, and the buses cost just £5, and this is on the express coach. Apparently there's also some form of local bus which is even cheaper, and there's usually standing room only on that, but I could not find out at all where that went from. As for taxis, it'd be about £30 to get a taxi from Tunis to Hammamet. But there's also the share taxi, which is the taxi I got. The share taxi is a bit different to a regular taxi because they only start from designated taxi points, so it's kind of like a halfway between a bus and a taxi. Now a share taxi, you're supposed to share it with people to bring down the cost, and this costs £16. So that's £16 to go 30 miles. That's the same price as a train in the UK. This shows how expensive the trains are over in the UK. So the taxi's the same price as a train. Bit expensive really, because I wanted to really do a trip on the cheap. Plus it was annoying because I wanted to take local transport. I don't just want to be ferried around in taxi. And the other thing was, the people running the taxis couldn't understand English, and I was trying to say to them, I want to share a taxi. But they assumed because I'm a European, I must want the whole taxi to myself. So in the end I'd pay £16 to go 30 miles, which I guess isn't too bad. So then, let's now take a look at a place where I was staying in Hammamet in Tunisia. And this time in Tunisia, I was staying in an abandoned building. Not quite. This is a hotel I booked, and this hotel is 80% abandoned. In fact, only one corridor on one floor of this hotel was actually in use. Let's take a look around the abandoned parts. It is pretty creepy to think that a hotel I booked and staying in is not much different to an abandoned building. In fact, I actually probably stayed in abandoned buildings a bit nicer than this hotel. But there again, I'm not complaining since I paid £70 for both flights and hotel, and normally just the flights alone are £70, so I can't complain at that. If we take a look at hotel rooms, it does look very sad seeing how this hotel is in this state. This is due to both coronavirus and the tourist industry being decimated due to fears over terrorist attacks. So it does make me feel a bit sad what's happened to the hotels in Tunisia. Let's now take a look at the lift, and sadly the lift was not working. Let's take a look on top of it. So then, let's now go along to my hotel room, and this is what the active hotel rooms look like. They are quite dated looking, but there again I'm still not complaining because of how cheap I got this place. The beds were reasonably comfy. The bed covers they provided were not warm enough because Tunisia is usually a hot country and not many tourists usually come here in winter. And the air conditioning is this very old fashioned looking thing. I've never seen a control for air conditioning like this before. And let's now take a look at the balcony. So that's the room tour. Let's now take a look at this hotel in the daytime, and let's take a look at the swimming pools. This hotel's got an indoor and outdoor pool, but sadly the indoor pool was not working. And the outdoor pool was not working either. I feel a bit cheated by this because it didn't say online that the pools were not working when I booked a hotel. But again, £70 for the entire 4-night trip. I cannot complain at that. So then, that's this episode complete. Make sure you check out my next video, which is going to be my adventure in Hammamet, where I go and explore the resorts.